And today marks the start of 3 days of public remembrances for the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Skylar Henry has more details from the court.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg arrived at the Supreme Court for the last time Wednesday, where she now lies in repose. Ginsburg was remembered as a trailblazer and a fierce advocate for women's rights.
This was Justice Ginsburg's life's work, to insist that the Constitution deliver on its promise, that we, the people, would include all the people.
Chief Justice John Roberts said Ginsburg's opinions will guide the court for decades to come.
She will live on in what she did to improve the law and the lives of all of us. And yet, still, Ruth is gone, and we grieve.
Carolyn Curry-Talman and Renee Bobbitt came from Florida to pay their respects.
So many of the things that we take for granted as women and people, she was instrumental in providing. So that's really why we felt like we had to be here.
President Trump is expected to come to the Supreme Court to pay his respects to Justice Ginsburg tomorrow. The president says he needs to move quickly to name her replacement so the full court can hear any cases that come up from the November election.
You're going to need 9 justices up there. I think it's going to be very important because what they're doing is a hoax with the ballots. They're sending out tens of millions of ballots unsolicited.
President Trump met with Judge Amy Coney Barrett for a second time at the White House Tuesday, and sources tell CBS News she is the leading candidate to replace Justice Ginsburg on the bench. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The president will name a replacement for Justice Ginsburg Saturday evening at the White House. And the U.S. House of Representatives passed a stopgap funding bill to keep the federal government operating through December 11th. This came after House Democrats struck a deal with Republicans on aid for farmers and nutritional assistance to children. With government funding running out on September 30th, leaders of both parties have been working on legislation to continue funding most programs at current levels. Both parties are trying to avoid a government shutdown in the middle of a pandemic and ahead of the November 3rd elections. And in Kentucky today, the Jefferson County grand jury presented its report on the Breonna Taylor case to the judge. Former Louisville Metro police officer Brett Hinkinson was indicted on 3 counts of wanton endangerment connected to the night Breonna Taylor died. None of the other officers involved have been charged. A group gathered outside at a memorial for Taylor just before the announcement. And have you noticed you've been shopping online more since the pandemic started? How online businesses have fared over the past few months. That's next.